Trinidad and Tobago Cycling Federation, Mrs. Rowena Williams.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and greetings from the beautiful Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Good afternoon again to my esteemed team behind me. I want to introduce you to the CEO of Sport Company, Mr. Jason Williams, Mr. Kyron Serrett, the Senior Manager of Partner and Alliance with the Sport Company of Trinidad and Tobago, and a welcome to all our foreign guests, the TTCF officials, all the executives, officials. Good afternoon to everyone, and the media. It is my pleasure and esteemed honor to welcome you to the 2022 Caribbean Track Cycling Championships at our UCI Class 1 homologated velodrome, the first of its kind in the Caribbean, located right here in Cuba, Trinidad. I'm eager to witness the greatness that these 3 days of exciting cycling and fierce competition shall bring to fore. The added bonus that this year's competition will also be used as a qualifying event for the Caribbean and Central American Games 2023 to be hosted in El Salvador, and as a warm-up for the Youth Commonwealth Games 2023 to be hosted here in Trinidad and Tobago next year. It serves as a mouth-watering appetizer for what we shall see next year. We do want to also indicate to you that we are proud to be the first country to host the Caribbean Track Championships on its standalone without being joined with another event. Prior to this, we did have the Caribbean Track Championships hosted together with the Pan American Track Championships in 2017. In 2015, it was a joint event also in Cuba. So we are happy to be the first country to host this event as the Caribbean Track Cycling Championship standalone event. So let's give ourselves a round of applause for being able to host this event. So I want to thank everyone, thank all the volunteers and everyone that came out to make this event a success, and I wish every cyclist participating here best wishes, and do be safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Williams. At this time, I would like to recognize, unfortunately, he was not able to grace us with his presence this evening, but I would like to recognize the representative of Copasi and the CCU, Henny Julio Bonifacio, but he will be joining us later on this weekend at Cuba for day 2 of the Track Cycling Championships. At this time, I'd like to welcome to the podium the CEO Mr. Jason Williams.
Pleasant good night, everyone. Pleasant good night, everyone. You know, it's very exciting for us to be hosting this particular event this weekend. As Rowena would have said, it's the first where it's been hosted by one single entity. And, you know, this is really the culmination of discussions that started as early as last September, where we met with Mr. Bailey and his team considering hosting events like these in Trinidad and Tobago. We are proud, we are happy to have everyone here. We welcome all the athletes. We know you're excited to get on the track. We're not going to delay much longer. We just want to welcome you to Trinidad and Tobago. Have fun. Just remember the friendships. Take those memories as you go along. And just, you know, learn from that, grow from that. I would just like to take one moment to thank, you know, the staff of the sports company of Trinidad and Tobago who would have worked so hard over the last couple of weeks into very late each night, being here very early every day. You know, your hard work, you know, we are seeing the results of that tonight. We have a beautiful facility, and we're excited to have all the events take place. So again, welcome to Trinidad and Tobago, and enjoy the next 3 days.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williams. And last but by no means least, I would like to introduce to the podium, bringing greetings on behalf of the Ministry of Sport and Community Development. All right, I was just informed that Mr. Gabriel McTair, the Director of PES representing the Ministry of Sport and Community Development, he's unfortunately not with us this evening. So at this time, I would like to welcome you officially to the 2022 Caribbean Track Cycling Championships. This is session number 2. Ronald, we are in for a good one this evening.
Thank you very much, Wesley and Carolina. As we move into our program this evening, ladies and gentlemen, we will be starting with the Elite Women Team Pursuit Final, which will have one team, Cuba, going up to the time. Remember, this is also a qualifier for the Central and Caribbean Games. So these riders are trying to earn as much UCI points to get into those games. Then we'll have the men's team pursuit final. Trinidad and Tobago will be up against Cuba. The women's team sprint, we have Trinidad and Tobago. Elite men team sprint, where we have Jamaica riding in bronze, and gold and silver we should have Cuba and Trinidad and Tobago. Then we'll have a short break, ladies and gentlemen, have the medal ceremonies for those events, those finals, and then we'll move on to the junior men elimination final, and the elite men track race final, and then we'll go to have
Who give you
as the team is set, and we are ready to go.
So I see our officials placing the starting gate on the track.
You want to just double
As
check
Ronald said, we're heading into the women's team pursuit final. If you were here for session 1 this morning,
This was the one that was by the pan, I think. I'm not sure.
unfortunately the ladies
So once again, a very good evening to one and all as we welcome you here to the National Cycling Velodrome in Balmain, Couva in Trinidad and Tobago. You just had a short opening ceremony, and of course, the voices you'll be hearing later on tonight. As co to me, I'm Ruskin Mark, and of course, working along with Wesley Williams and Ronald Dickey. Those are the voices you'll hear calling the races as we go through. As we already have on the track, the Elite Women Pursuit Final, 4 kilometers or 16 laps of this 250 track. A splendid facility here in Balmain, Couva. Ronald, as we look ahead to this particular event and as we welcome our viewers from locally and abroad who are tuning in at this point in time. In your time, we didn't have this.
No,
so this
no.
was a different. This is a different level right now.
Yes, this is a totally different level. And as I was saying earlier to the crowd inside, that these athletes are not only going for gold here at these games, they are looking at qualification for the CAC games to come as well. So these riders will be getting UCI points to qualify. That's why we have a lone team riding in the women's team pursuit final. They are just making sure that they get those UCI points to qualify for CAC games. My apologies.
As we look at the thing, what kind of times are they looking for? Do you have an idea of the times that they must actually dip under in order to...
So it's no longer under times to qualify. It's under UCI points that is gained over certain UCI events that happens.
Well, that's great because it takes a little bit of the pressure off, although I'm sure they probably want to go as quickly as they possibly can. So the young ladies are on the track. Quevedo Alvarez, Elena Perez, Danian Perez Quevada, Claudia Barro Arango, and Evelyn Diaz Matos. As they make their way around the track.
4 kilometers.
Of course, 4 kilometers or 16 laps of this 250 track.
Riders coming around, looking very controlled indeed, the Cuban squad, as they try to set the best time for their personal best time for 2022 at this Balmain Couva indoor track. We saw great times put down, ladies and gentlemen, in the past by Nicholas Paul, Jacine Phillip, and numerous other cyclists in the past, right here at the Pan Am Juniors and Pan Am Seniors years ago. We are so happy to be hosting the Caribbean Track Cycling Championships as they come around again. The Cuban women getting faster and faster. Cuban ladies traveling at a speed of 47.294 kilometers per hour. Very steady indeed.
And certainly it looks like they are pretty much holding their form at this point in time as the riders take turns at the lead, which is customary. They're no doubt trying to share the workload as much as possible as they set up for a grand finale with 9 laps to go. They obviously trying to get everything into gear so that they can in fact settle on something special coming forward.
So we have the riders still going. They are now seeing 9 laps to go. 9 laps to go for the Cuban women. So the riders,
as you can see, 240 so far, 7.5 laps to go, 47.800 kilometers. 2 minutes 49.454 seconds at the last time check.
And as you can see, Ruskin, their speed has picked up as well. They're up to 47.9 kilometers an hour.
With 6.5 laps to go.
For Cuba, as they keep pushing, making some very smooth exchanges as they go down the back straightaway.
So as they come for 5 laps to go, just a little bit, 47.97 kilometers as they try to maintain speed throughout. So now there's a little breaking up here now because one rider has separated. So 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 as Rana was just indicating there, there are 3 riders now, so the time will be allocated based on the 3rd rider to cross the line.
For the 3rd kilometer, a time of 1 minute 13.345 seconds. So Cuba still pushing, giving it their all on the track, looking to put an exceptional time in as they seek to qualify for the upcoming CAC Games.
The riders have now picked up their pace once again and traveling at a speed of 48.74 kilometers. And that's the bell for Cuba. 1 lap to go as they make their way around, looking very strong indeed, trying to finish off with a very good time as they try to qualify for that CAC spot. Gold medal gets them there, but they still want to do a very good time as they come to the line and all bunch up just to make sure. Official time for Cuba, 4 minutes 59.039 seconds, traveling at a speed of 48.154 average speed for the riders. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be taking a short 5-minute break before we have the next event.
So of course, that's the first event on the track for this evening, the first day of 3 of the Caribbean Track Cycling Championships here at the National Velodrome in Balmain, Cuba. And again, Cuba, the elite women team pursuit, a 4-kilometer event. Again, the first kilometer, 1 minute 17.180 seconds. The second kilometer at 2:31.2. In the 3rd kilometer, 3 minutes 44.605 seconds. And their official time, 4:59.039 seconds. So again, so their speed again at 48.154 kilometers an hour. And they, of course, Iron CSE Games qualification next year. So there's quite a lot that is going on with them. And Ronald, you know, we just had our first taste of the action on the track. We had a short schedule this morning as riders get ready for the big program tonight and throughout the weekend. But as we see these riders here, we look at these Cuban ladies making their way back on the infield. I'm sure they must be happy with their performance. You're never fully satisfied, but I thought they gave it a pretty good shot.
Yes, they did. They did an excellent ride indeed. And again, as we said, they will take home the gold from this, as Rowena Williams, the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Cycle Federation, said earlier. It's the first time that the Caribbean Track Championships is being held solely on its own. And it's huge for us right now. And these riders are doing their best to get that gold medal for the first ever solely held Caribbean Track Championships, plus gain, as we keep on saying, which is the most important thing for these riders, is to gain those extra UCI points to get to the Caribbean and the Central and Caribbean Games.
And of course, remember our local athletes, our junior athletes, are also vying for qualification for the Junior Commonwealth Games as well next year, to be hosted right here in Trinidad and Tobago. And it certainly makes us, Wesley, as I was just asking Ronald there, Cuba, of course, picking up a gold medal, the first one of these championships, but also a very impressive ride, and I think the fans who come here will be more than satisfied based on the effort that the athletes put in.
Yeah, most definitely. Cuba seems to have a very strong track cycling program, because even with the men that we saw this morning, they would have put out an excellent performance in the team pursuit event this morning, and the ladies following suit thereafter. Excellent time. The speeds were consistent, really, really well on the exchanges. So, they seem to be very much on their way to, I would probably say, dominating this 4-kilometer team pursuit event in the region, unless another country is able to step up to the plate and dethrone the Cubans. But so far they're going great, and they're going strong.
It also sends a strong message for women cycling as well, because that's something that we are pushing here in Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm sure people up the islands or whoever else where they're seeing these events, some young girl might be thinking, I could do that, because I always tell people the best present you could give any child for Christmas is a bike.
Oh yeah, definitely. The bike stores at Christmas time, they're jam-packed, and every child is excited to ring that bell on Christmas morning. The Trinidad and Tobago Cycling Federation, actually, they have been on this campaign. It's called The Future is Female. The performances we would have had from, women cyclists in Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, we have Tennille Campbell representing us wonderfully on the international circuit. So it's always, always a pleasure to see women cyclists on the track, on the road, not necessarily only from Trinidad and Tobago, but all round. It's always a pleasure. And like you said, inspiration to those out there who might be looking on.
Certainly it is. And I think at the end of the day, that's really what you want to do, because you're forever replenishing your talent pool, and you never know when that switch is going to go off in somebody's mind or in somebody's head, that this is something that they really would like to do as they see. And the sort of colors that people see on cyclists is also another attraction for any spectator or any viewer, because sometimes that is what catches their eyes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can recall as being a young child, being around cycling from a very tender age. As you said, the first thing that catches the eye is the bright colors of the uniforms. It's, seeing the speed as well of what's possible on a bicycle that you might have at home. So, I would have seen track cycling back in the day, and would have, made attempts to do the same on my own. And like you said, it just takes that one spark to bring forward the next Tennille Campbell, the next Nicholas Paul, the next Gracie Brown, the next Justine Phillip. Justine, who is actually the head coach of the Trinidad and Tobago track cycling team for this championships. Really, really good to see him here, imparting his knowledge on the team, and bringing them up to a particular standard. So we'll be looking forward to seeing them performing later on this evening.
Oh, it certainly is, and I think a lot of people are looking forward. We don't get it much in cricket anymore. We get it some in football, where national teams compete against each other because of franchise cricket. Not all teams are totally local, if you know what I mean. They have imports. But here, you have primarily national teams competing against each other. And, we had that in the past in cricket, like I said, and that is the big draw for cricket fans. For cycling, this is something else that we look forward to now, to see how our locals match up against the others. And I'm sure fans back in those countries are looking to see how they match up to the Trinidad and Tobago riders.
Oh yeah, surely. When you think about cycling on the national level, I think of two words, and it's national pride. The Trinidad and Tobago Cycling Federation would have adopted a motto at a point in time: roar with passion and feel the pride. When you see the colors of the country that you represent, and in particularly in these games, we have the likes of Cuba, Antigua, Suriname, St. Lucia, Barbados, Jamaica, and Trinidad. When you see the colors of your country, whether you're here or you're looking on at the live stream abroad, there's a sense of pride, Ruskin, that you feel that tops no other.
It certainly is, and as we have a little lull in proceedings here, what are you looking forward to in the main? All right.
So what we're waiting on, Ruskin, we just have a brief, as you said, a lull in proceedings as we await the continuation of the program. In the, I believe up next we have the men pursuit finals, where we'll see Cuba coming up against Trinidad and Tobago. So the officials are currently on the track. They're just testing the gates, testing all the systems to ensure that they're up to scratch. So when we get started, there's no issues. A really, really world-class center we have here. So, I mean, it's something that you'd see, you know, in the US and across Europe, and it's lovely that we'd have it right here in Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, it certainly is, and I think that's one of the things that we want to really stress or impress on our viewers, that this event is happening right here in the Caribbean for those Caribbean viewers and even from beyond our shores. And Trinidad and Tobago, part of the whole grand plan is to make this the hub for cycling in the region, of course with assistance from the UCI. So this becomes a satellite center, and riders from throughout the Americas can in fact come here and do their work, their hard work, as they prepare for major events.
Yeah, most certainly, being licensed as one of the highest class of UCI centers. I know that the Trinidad and Tobago Cycling Federation as well as COPASI, they will be working very closely together to promote sport tourism in Trinidad and Tobago. You know, we have the lovely weather and throughout the year, so we can, you know, always have cyclists coming from near and far to take part and to engage in training camps as well as competition right here in Balmain, Couva, right here in our backyard.
Well, it certainly is, and you can never forget that, because so many of our riders, we have been so used to seeing riders, our local riders, go abroad to do what we call go to finishing school, you know, to get all the work in. And now that we've been able to bring a facility like this here, what we're seeing is that somebody like a Nicholas Paul could really go out there, himself and Kwesi Brown, and qualify for the Olympic Games. But most of their hard work started right here.
That's right. In the past, so you mentioned Nicholas Paul and also the likes of Kwesi Brown. They would have spent some time in Switzerland, as you said, in finishing school with the UCI, just honing their talent. And that was before we had this world-class center. So as you said, we have the youth coming up. We're seeing a lot of them on show here, and they would be able to, you know, perfect and polish their talents right here in Trinidad and Tobago. So that alone, like I said, national pride, it you know, it just really, you know, fills my heart with joy to know that locally born, locally bred, and going out there with the talents that they would have acquired at the National Cycling Center to, you know, fly the Trinidad and Tobago flag high on the international stage.
It certainly is, and that cannot ever be lost on these youngsters. And I'm sure our junior team will be just as thrilled to be able to come and compete in front of their home fans. It's always a different kettle of fish when you're competing abroad than when you're competing at home. But the good thing is that most of the spectators will be parents, friends that they know, who are always cheering them on.
Oh yeah, for sure. When you look at the crowd and you look at the persons who are around these cyclists, it's, you know, friends and family. And it's been a family-oriented sport ever since in Trinidad and Tobago. My co-host this afternoon, Ronald Dickey Jr., he's one to attest to that. He comes from a cycling family. He was a cyclist himself, and he would have come straight around, full circle, and is paying his dues in just a different way now. So, Ruskin, I can see that we see our cyclists for the Team Pursuit Elite Men final. They're currently on the track just getting the legs warmed up as the officials await to call them to the line. So if you were
looking at the squads,
yes,
on there, the Trinidad and Tobago team.
So for Trinidad and Tobago, we have Maurice Burnett, Enrique de Comamond, Liam Trepte, and Tariq Woods. Now, we have a number of medal holders in that team. Tariq Woods, for example, he is the current reigning kilometer national champion. He would have taken that title earlier on this year.
And Tariq has been improving over time we'd have seen a lot of these riders, we saw them as BMXers, and then they graduated, and now they're national colors and looking to break onto the elite stage as well.
Oh yeah, surely that's a natural progression of how it goes in Trinidad and Tobago, especially. So we can draw reference to one Jacine Phillip. I would have seen Jacine racing at the BMX level. So what the BMX level does, it gives you that training, that ability to turn the legs over quickly. So you're able to function on a particular level at any gear you might put in on the track. So the BMX is a good foundation to come through the ranks and eventually get to the elite level, and that is what we've seen with the Trinidad and Tobago cycling team that is going to take the track in this final.
Well, it's certainly looking like that, because we're getting ready for the elite men's team pursuit. Cuba against Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, Trinidad and Tobago in their resplendent red, white, and black colors. They are already on the line. And,
so just a final test of the systems. Just to mention, as you can see, both teams are taking the track on opposite sides. Trinidad and Tobago on the back straight, as their time would have just been short of that set by Cuba. So Cuba setting the fastest time in the qualifying in this morning's session. So they'll be starting on the front straight, and Trinidad and Tobago on the back straight, and they'll be going head-to-head for 4 kilometers, 16 laps. It's going to be an exciting one. It sounds long, but it flies by so quickly.
of course, it's always a big thing when you get to the line. You could just feel the adrenaline pumping. Riders knowing what their rules are in all of this. And something that riders, spectators often ask is the order. How do they determine the order that guys would ride? But I would imagine you would need to have some of your stronger riders there waiting at the end who can really carry the load, because this could be a demanding event.
Exactly, it's a distance of 4 kilometers. So as you said, the national coaches, the trainers, they would be setting the order in which these cyclists would take off. For Cuba, we have Leandro Marcos, Alejandro Parra, Douglas Parado, and Giancarlos Hernandez. Now, like I mentioned earlier, Cuba would have set out the faster time of the two, that time being 4 minutes, 25.082 seconds. And Trinidad and Tobago with a time of 4 minutes, 29.777 seconds. And there they go. So remember, they are head-to-head. And let's see how it goes. 16 laps.
So here they go. Of course, this is for the gold medal. Trinidad and Tobago, no doubt, hoping to improve on their times from this morning. A 4:29 as opposed to a 4:25. So, as you can see, they're just slightly ahead of the Cubans at this point. But as we saw with Cuba this morning, they know how to finish and to finish up strong.
Most definitely, their speed will be climbing with every kilometer they ride. So what we'll be looking at is to see the smoothness of the transitions, with the cyclist being able to be tucked in as close as possible to the one in front to ensure that the slipstream is there. So as they increase the speed, they move as a unit and put that times down.
And Trinidad and Tobago is still slightly ahead. In fact, they're just picking up the pace a little bit. They might be even a little further ahead at this point in time.
Yeah, that's right. Cuba is falling behind. They're currently behind by 0.586 seconds. Both teams doing a speed of average 52 and 53 kilometers an hour. So you have an idea of the speed at which these guys are riding. The 4 cyclists from Trinidad and Tobago, they are looking very tight, very strong indeed.
It certainly, so again, the Cubans are trying to close that gap, but Trinidad and Tobago is still maintaining that lead and putting pressure. In fact, They have increased their lead slightly as well. So they're holding their form at the moment.
Yes, opening up to just a lead of just over 1.4 seconds, and it seems as though that Trinidad and Tobago, they are speeding up and they are moving quick.
But of course the Cubans no doubt will be trying to close that. There's 1.6 now is the lead to 11.068 and 1.6 seconds up still. Cuba no doubt trying to wind it up here now to try to get back in their business. Yep, so the Cubans are closing.
As we're just under the halfway point, Ruskin, and very close indeed. It's going to be Trinidad and Tobago. They're making their changes very well.
It's 0.397 seconds of a lead now, and one rider is out for TNT.
Trinidad and Tobago just losing their edge just a bit. Maurice Burnett doing his stint at the front and exchanging. Cuba seems to be gaining, and
Dead even.
Cuba moves ahead by just 0.095 seconds. The lead is changing between Trinidad and Tobago. This is very close indeed.
And of course, this is where you make your money, so to speak. They now have to find a little extra at this point in time.
Yeah, with 4.5 laps to go, 4 laps to go rather. Cuba is back. Trinidad and Tobago is back in the lead by just a slim margin. Will they be able to hold it out? Let's see.
So they're just trying Trinidad by 0.43 of a second. So they're trying to hold on.
It's switching from hand to hand. This is going to go all the way down to the wire.
Cuba pushing now.
Both teams down to 3 riders, and the time will be taken at the passing of the 3rd rider's wheel across the line. But very, very close indeed. Cuba, very slight lead of 0.784 seconds.
Trinidad by 1.032 seconds in front, so that's the bell.
And that's the bell, Ruskin. It's the final lap. Trinidad and Tobago pushing hard. Now remember, all 3 cyclists must pass the line. Let's see how this will go. With half lap to go, Trinidad and Tobago is pushing. And it looked Cuba with a lead of 1.345 seconds. They would have taken the gold medal in that event. Very, very close race indeed. Trinidad and Tobago just losing it just a bit, coming down to the end. Cuba holding it very tight. Cuba completing that race in a time of 4 minutes, 21.642 seconds. What a ride indeed, very close. Very close.
When you compare that time, look at this morning, they were 4:25, and they're now 4:21. So you can see the improvement in terms of the speed, and they had something in reserve for the final.
Blistering indeed. It could just be that they were acclimatizing to the cycling center, but they've done an exceptional job here, and they will be qualifying for the CSC Games as the champions of this particular event. So Cuba putting on an excellent performance, taking that gold medal. Trinidad and Tobago by no means to be taken for granted. An exceptional performance as well by Trinidad and Tobago, taking the silver medal in this the elite men team pursuit final.
So again, congratulations to the Cubans. Trinidad and Tobago second and fourth, 22.987.
And joining us just in time, Ruskin, we have the ambassador for Cuba. So they would have just joined us at the center to...
So this is the situation here where we've just seen a splendid ride by the Cubans to secure the gold medal, improving on their time run from this morning, where they did a 4:25, and here they came this evening and did a 4:21.
Yes, it was an excellent time indeed, but let me tell you something. My paws are still, it's unbelievable. That young Trinidad team, these guys who have just come out, I think they're almost all under 23 riders. It is amazing to see what they have done and what the management of the of the Trinidad and Tobago cycling team, bringing on Jasain Phillip, having Elijah Green. These guys who have raced in the international sector. You have I've seen young Bramble is also there. Ian Cole, the manager, and Jovian Gomez, who is a past pursuit champion for Trinidad and Tobago. So you have this support team, and it's a bunch of young guys too as well that are supporting the youths that are coming up. And to have somebody like Jasain and Jovian and Bramble and Elijah there at your side and screaming and shouting for you, it has to give you that extra effort. And they went, I think, something like 4 seconds faster or 5 seconds faster than their time. They were beaten by 4 seconds this morning from the Cubans.
They did a 4:22 tonight and a 4:29 this morning.
Exactly. So there you saw, this morning could have just been nerves. And now that it's no longer there, they have on the colors, it's no longer a weight on their shoulders. I mean, you could see the effort that was put out for these guys. And I mean, as I said, I was really, really proud of that.
Well, it certainly is, and that one is in there. And we getting ready for yet another event, our junior elimination. And of course, our local riders are hoping that they can really impress the fans with some sterling performances, but obviously it's going to take some doing because the visitors, we've already seen, the Cubans are not messing around. They're here to do damage, as we say, and they are not going to be easy pushovers by any stretch of the imagination. As they continue to warm up here, and of course these youngsters are, obviously, I'm sure the visitors must be thrilled to know that in their backyard they can have a facility like this, and that they might be here competing now for the national teams. Who knows, in the future, they may be here to train as well.
Exactly. I mean, this is the only facility in the Caribbean, indoor cycling track. Right, Cuba, I have raced in Cuba and they have an outdoor 333 track. So these are the kind of links that I think that the Federation and the Trinidad and Tobago Sport Company will be trying to make with these other federations and getting the riders to come down and use the track and get, so we could get as a Caribbean better results across the board in the World Center.
the Director of PES, that is Mr. Gabriel McTair, representing the Ministry of...
So you just heard there from Mr. Gabriel McTair, of course, from the Ministry of Sport and Youth Development, as he was a little bit late in getting here. I tell you, it's like horrendous traffic getting to this venue. It's a Friday evening in Trinidad and Tobago. Everybody seems to be heading home from north to south, and he might have been caught up in that traffic, making his way to the facility. But he's here, and I'm sure he'll be thoroughly entertained the rest of this evening. And but of course, he would have missed, well, I'm not sure if he missed it, but he just got here. Obviously, as I was mentioning, there's so much traffic outside, and he might have been caught in that traffic trying to get here. And unlike some of us, he doesn't have outriders.
Oh, the traffic, it's just, you know how a Friday afternoon goes. I would have left south at least 2 hours before to ensure that I get up here in time. And well, I know coming from the west and east especially, there was a significant amount of traffic. But Saturday and Sunday should be a bit easier given that we're on the weekend. So I know I'll definitely be seeing you here at least an hour before the start.
It's significantly better because there really isn't any traffic at all in this on a Saturday and Sunday in this part in these parts. Really, the highway is more or less clear unless something happens, you know. But
And we
outside
hope
of that,
not.
It should be easy sailing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Taking the track right now, we have the elite women in their team sprint final. Just one team registering for this event. That is Trinidad and Tobago, the red, white, and black. We have the likes of Alexi Ramirez, Adriana C. Jagat, and Phoebe Sandy. They would be doing a distance of 750 meters. That is 3 laps of the velodrome. 3 very quick laps. You can see the 2-time Olympian Jasain Phillip, the head coach for Team Trinidad and Tobago. He is out there to coach them on. Adriana C. Jagat, she will be taking the first leg, followed by Phoebe Sandy and Alexi Ramirez. Alexi would have had some, great experience on the international circuit over the past year. She would have been floating through Europe as well as the United States. So let's see. And
a little mishap there. She probably either the pedal slipped or the wheel slipped.
yes, so in the event of something like that happening, the officials do take that into consideration. And the cyclists, they will come back around. They will double check all the systems to ensure that's a go. And of course, these ladies will have the opportunity to race here this evening. Sometimes it's just the nerves, Ruskin, performing on this level under these lights in front of the home crowd.
It is, but the good thing is that she doesn't look like if she's hurt. She's getting back on. I'm not sure if you could have forced her off the track. She might have been going kicking and screaming if you attempted to take her off the track, because while that wasn't in the plan, quitting also is not part of the plan at all for her.
Adriana, she's exceptional. She's also another cyclist that I've had the opportunity to see grow from the BMX level up to this elite women's level. So she doesn't seem fazed by what occurred whatsoever. Her teammates joining her on the line once more, and they'll be under the officials' orders in just a short while.
And of course they all look, and of course she's on the inside, so they're all looking to her to see if she could lead them out properly.
Yeah, it's a shorter race, 3 laps, the team sprint event. So looking for a very strong start to get that gear up to speed and everyone maintain that. And Phoebe with the second leg and Alexi with the third leg, they'll be pushing it straight through to the end. 20 seconds to the start. They're under the starter's orders at this time. So I know for sure it's going to go the right way this time around.
I'm sure she's determined to get it right and to execute the plan.
And there they go, Ruskin.
This time
There
she's
they go.
off.
Getting that gear up to speed, Adriana Sijagat, followed by Phoebe Sandy. And Alexi Ramirez. They're coming around to see 2 laps to go.
Sandy takes over, so she now tries to kick it into gear for Trinidad and Tobago to set it up for Ramirez. And Ramirez is going to have to stay to try to hold that wheel.
Oh yeah, definitely. The first lap time, that lap going at 22.320 seconds. Lap 2 getting a bit quicker at 15.866 seconds as Alexi takes the bell. She'll be putting it all on the track in this final lap to see the best time as they seek to qualify for the CAC Games. A strong finish indeed by Ramirez. 55.800 seconds. Look at the speed,
of about
Ruskin.
48.38 seconds. Yep. 48.367 kilometers an hour.
It's a good thing that we don't have the Trinidad and Tobago
Look at her
Police
coming
Service.
home here.
Oh yeah.
And you could see the coaches urging her on to get to the finish line as quickly as possible. And after that little mishap, when we had the false start, they certainly came back strongly in the official ride.
Most definitely, Adriana's getting settled in for that first stint. Phoebe pulling an excellent second leg as well. And look at the strength and the power being put down by Ramirez on that final leg as Josein Phillip, the head coach, cheers her on into the finish. Really, really excellent ride by these.
She looks like she's carrying a big gear.
Yeah, yeah. Look at the cadence of
Yep.
the legs as they go around, and she just nudges it on the line.
Yeah, she really looked like she was carrying a huge gear there and trying her best to generate the kind of power and the speed that is required for an event like that. And she has, remember, she is like the endurance person because
Yeah.
she is basically taking the attacks from the first 2, and then she then has to keep something in reserve to come home with.
Correct, and she's shown that she can do that time and time again. So a very, very, very good ride by the elite woman in that team sprint event. And Ruskin, we're heading over into the elite men team sprint final. Earlier on today, we would have seen the qualifying times for those cyclists in the team sprint. In the qualifyings, we had Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and Cuba. Trinidad and Tobago putting down the fastest time of 46.807 seconds. So Trinidad and Tobago being the fastest qualifier of the top qualifier rather. They'll be starting on the front straight with Cuba on the back straight. Cuba only missing the mark earlier in the qualifying round by 1.1 seconds. So let's see how they will fare in this. Now we know Trinidad and Tobago to be a very, very strong sprinting.
Sprint team, yeah.
That's right. That's right. We have the likes of Kwesi Brown. Kwesi Brown, former Olympian. He's also there on the track. With Zion Pulido.
And Ryan Dabro.
That's right, Ryan Dabro. Young Ryan Dabro would have recently come up into the elite category. And he's showing what he's made of, being able to be chosen for this team sprint team.
So Ryan Dabro is the one who is going to do the honors. And of course, Pulido in the middle. And Quincy Brown, the Olympian, is the one at the top of the track right now. Highest on the bank.
That's right, Kwesi being a very strong Keirin rider, he'll definitely be able to take the distance and put the speed down. Just to mention, we have Cuba on the back straight. That is Tony Garcia, Ronaldo Mendez, and Brian Lopez. So they'll be starting on the back straight, looking to better the host country of Trinidad and Tobago in this event. But let's see how it goes.
Well, they're just waiting. Here goes Riders at the ready.
And that
And
is
they're
the
up.
start indeed. So Trinidad and Tobago pushing off well on the line. That is Ryan Dabro on the inside doing that first leg. We also have number 031, that's Tony Garcia for Cuba. They are pushing indeed, and it's quick, Ruskin. Trinidad and Tobago is in front by just a bit, 0.556 seconds.
Here comes the bell. Quincy Brown is going to take over and try to bring it home for TNT.
Oh yeah, definitely. So let's see what Quincy Brown would be able to do. Trinidad and Tobago is currently up by just over half of a second. Quincy Brown coming for the finish. Very close indeed.
So Quincy, 1.009 of a second quicker.
Yes, the boys in the red, white, and black, they have come out on top with an exceptional ride. Ruskin, as we said earlier, Trinidad and Tobago is known for their sprinters, and they've just proven that this evening. Quincy Brown, with the experience and the speed, bringing it home in a time of 46.594 seconds.
And that's a gold medal for Trinidad and Tobago. So again, apart from entertaining, the bottom line is you have a gold medal. Nobody can take that away from you now.
Oh yeah, the medal count is beginning, and the UCI points gathering as well. That goes to their world ranking. So as they gather UCI points, it enables them to qualify for different world and regional level events that they'll be able to compete at. So look at the strength of Quincy Brown as he brought it home there on the replay.
And of course, we all know Quincy as one of those. Same thing we were talking about another rider who we saw as a BMXer, and we just saw his progression over time. And he is such a strong rider. Although he kind of falls in the shadow right now of Nicholas Paul, but then who wouldn't, given the kind of phenomenal rise that Nicholas has produced? But Quincy is still there holding his own, and as we saw his quality here tonight.
What I love about Quincy Brown in particular, he's so quiet, so reserved. He really just lets performances speak for themselves. That's right. I know we'll be heading over to the prize rostrum in just a while to distribute the medals for the winners of the pursuit events thus far.
And again, Cuba doing the honors in those respective events. You just look at some of those spectators here as they get a bird's eye view of proceedings here. And some familiar faces, of course. So, yes, we're just standing by for the medal ceremonies. So we're getting ready for the medal presentation for the women and men's elite pursuit, elite women and elite women team sprint, and the elite men team sprint that just concluded. So we'll have those medals being presented in a little while. Cuba in the elite women team pursuit. They also did it in the elite men pursuit. And Trinidad and Tobago did the honors in the team pursuit, in the team sprint, with victory in the junior women and elite men. So a share of the medals so far for Trinidad and Tobago and Cuba, as they have sort of put their hands up as the ones to beat at these championships.
Especially at the sprint events. Especially at the sprint events, we have seen that the Cubans have been the stronger set of riders. In the the only, and I should say the only event that we had over the sprints was the team pursuit, and they look very strong as well. But Trinidad was close by. But we still have the mass start events such as the scratch race later on this evening for the elite men, and the junior men have the elimination. So more endurance events, that's the word I was looking for, coming later on, and we still have the sprints and so on. But then we will see the riders from Suriname, the riders from Jamaica, the riders from Barbados, who we know, the riders like Edwin Sutherland and Jamal Eastman, who have both medaled in a lot of events leading up. Right, we have riders from St. Lucia as well here. And then, I mean, when you go to the women, we will have Alexi Ramirez coming back, but she has Amber Joseph, who has also medals in World Cups and so on from Barbados. So we have a lot of cyclists there who are still yet to ride the event. Ramirez rode the event to make up the team for Trinidad and Tobago. Right. She's an endurance rider. She rides on the road, right? So her battle is going to be against, Amber Joseph, I think for sure, is going to be her #1 contender when she goes to the track.
Certainly it is. I know you have to run over to do an interview in a short, so I will let you go. But maybe, Ronald, you could just inquire from especially the Cubans, if you could find out what kind of preparation they had coming into these championships, and just kind of give us an idea of how their build-up has been. So we could look forward to that. Ronald Dickey will be conducting that interview in a short. And as we now have the awards ceremony. And that will be coming up in a short. So we can look forward to that as well. This is kind of like the icing on the cake for these riders as they look at making things work as comfortably as possible. As we are here live at the 2022 Caribbean Track Cycling Championships here at the National Velodrome, the National Cycling Center in Balmain, Couva. It's right next to the home of football. It's also next to the National Aquatic Center, where we have two 50-meter pools, one indoor, one outdoor. And also we are not too far from the Arrow Bolden Stadium, and also in the general vicinity, the National Cricket Center here in Trinidad and Tobago. So this is really a nice sporting hub. We also have our beach football facility here as well. And Trinidad and Tobago has been making waves in that event as well. So it's been a good opportunity for them. As I say, good day to Mr. Gill, who is here with us. And a number of former national cyclists are all part of the proceedings here as well. So we certainly look forward to that. We have the presentation coming up. Cuba, both the elite men and women pursuit riders, very strong indeed, but spare thought for a very young Trinidad and Tobago team that more than held its own in that particular event. So they are the champions from Cuba, as the women's pursuit team, a strong Cuban team, coming here and doing the business. And they must be very, very proud indeed. And we just want to congratulate them on a job well done indeed. I'm sure they must be very, very happy, as they're very thrilled indeed to get there. So Mr. Maktir, the Director of PE at the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, doing the honors, presenting the young ladies with their championship jerseys as well. Always a proud, proud moment for these performers. So again, so these are your Caribbean champions in the pursuit for women, the elite women, and congratulations to them. They're thoroughly deserved indeed, as they picking up their gold medals after doing all the hard work as well. We're getting ready for the national anthem of Cuba.
We'd like to ask the Cuban cyclists to remain on the prize workshop for the playing of the Cuban national anthem.
So they're just heading back for the playing of their national anthem. The young ladies probably anxious to get back on their bikes and continue preparing for their next event. And an indication that they're really here to do a job.
Please stand. Thank you very much.
So that's the elite women, that's the Cubans, the national anthem of Cuba, to make it official that they are in fact the Caribbean champions in the elite women's team pursuit event. And we also had the elite men doing the honors, and Trinidad and Tobago took the silver medal in this one with a time of 4:22.987, and but they could only finish second to a fast and strong Cuban team that stopped the clock at 4:21.642. So the next presentation will be the men's, the elite men's team pursuit. Trinidad and Tobago led early, the Cubans led for a bit, Trinidad came back and did the honors, and then the Cubans came back and took it in the last lap. So Trinidad and Tobago with their silver medals.
Once again, assisting us with the medal distribution, Mr.
So Mr. Gregory Maktir doing the honors. As you see the Trinidad and Tobago team looking resplendent there with their silver medals. And but now it's time for the Cubans, the champions of the Caribbean, winning this particular event in 4:21.642 seconds, and certainly set a hectic pace, no doubt, for that. So I think Ronald Dickey is standing by to do an interview with the Cuban ladies.
Men and women team sprint events. Your medal distribution ceremony goes immediately after.
So the medals are now being presented. The Cubans now receiving their medals, getting their Caribbean Championship jerseys as well. So we have the Cuban national anthem one more time. And the victory salute, so to speak, for the Cubans, together with the Trinidad and Tobago team. So that is the Cuban national anthem as they celebrate back-to-back gold medals here at the Caribbean Championships. As we getting ready now for the interview.
So we are now moving
with the
to our first official interview.
So I think Ronald Dickey has a couple of members of the Cuban women's team over there. And he, of course, is getting ready to go.
And we are here with the winners of the women's team pursuit from Cuba. We're just going to have this our first interview. We have our translator with us, and we're just going to find out a couple of things. We just want to know how was their preparation for the Caribbean Championships.
Buenas noches. Buenas noches. Él quisiera saber
Calling all the winners of the Elimination Team Sprint event, Team Trinidad and Tobago.
quisiera saber cómo fue su preparación para el evento. ¿Cómo fue su preparación para estar aquí?
Bueno, la preparación fue muy buena, ya que estuvimos varios meses entrenando para esta competencia. Fue, vaya, algo muy importante para nosotros correr este evento aquí, porque los entrenadores nos habían preparado muy bien para esto.
She said that the team was well prepared. They have been looking forward for this event. The trainers and themselves put all they can do to be here.
And what are your goals for the future?
¿Cuál es su objetivo para el futuro?
Nuestro objetivo es llegar a un campeonato panamericano del Caribe y poder ganarla por equipo.
Su objetivo es poder llegar a representar a Cuba en el campeonato panamericano. El objetivo the object or the goal that they want is to represent Cuba on the Pan American Championships.
And we hope to see them there soon. So congratulations again, ladies, and we'll move on to our next interview in a short while.
So thank you, Ronald, and no doubt happy young ladies indeed, as they thoroughly deserve their gold medal, and now they're looking forward. We do have another presentation taking place as the Trinidad and Tobago ladies, as they took the elimination, the junior women's elimination final, and Trinidad and Tobago clocked a good time of 55.800 seconds. As you could just see the quality with him, and Trinidad and Tobago no doubt will be very happy to hear the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago being played here at the National Cycling Center, the Velodrome. So that's the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, the elite women's team sprint winners, gold medalists, Trinidad and Tobago doing the honors there as well. And so we're also looking forward. So we're looking at the Cubans. They are obviously celebrating double gold early here and now doing it. So the Jamaicans will step forward to receive their bronze medal. Cuba finishing second in the elite men's sprint, team sprint event. And of course, the Cubans now stepping forward. And of course, showing that they are kings of sprint in the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago stepping forward. And I'm sure Nicholas Paul, who is injured or recovering from injury and was not able to return home to represent his country, would be happily and would be proud of the performance of this team, especially led by his fellow Olympian, Kwesi Brown, who was just scratching his hair there, and second from right on the Trinidad contingent. And so the Cubans did it in the pursuit, Trinidad and Tobago doing it in the sprint event as well, an indication of how much the focus is on the sprint event, although more of the the endurance events are also coming into vogue here in Trinidad and Tobago. Congrats also to the Jamaicans. They picked up the bronze medal, and I'm sure they're happy with that, but they would probably want to improve on that as they go along, that should be the aim of every team. And of course, we also have the Cubans picking up their silver medals as well. And in the middle, Trinidad and Tobago. On the top rung, Zion Polido, Ryan Dabro, Kwesi Brown, and Kyle Karabai in the sprint cordon for Trinidad and Tobago. And it just shows you just how deep the Trinidad and Tobago team is. Hasim McLean and others not able to compete or missing out on this team sprint team. And as I told you, Nicholas Paul, who has the fastest time in the world in the flying 200, not here as well. He suffered a spill not too long ago, and he's just recovering from that. But I'm sure pretty soon we should be seeing him back in the mix, battling some of the best in the world in the not too distant future. In fact, at around this time, he would have been preparing for another major event, but he had to miss out on that, where some of the elite riders are competing. And Nicholas Paul would have been, or was in fact, invited to that, and is unable to participate, just as he's unable to be here at this time for this event. And I'm sure he would have loved to have been here to lead the national team alongside Kwesi Brown. And so we're getting ready for the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago. It's the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago, played expertly on the pan here at the National Cycling Center in Trinidad and Tobago. So the host nation with 2 gold medals as we head back to the track. The junior men elimination event is coming up. A direct final. They're getting ready for that battle, and so I think Ronald is going to try to squeeze in a quick interview before the riders get back on the track. If you could only get the Trinidad and Tobago riders to line up quickly, you'll get that interview quickly.
Ready?
So Ronald is trying to get the national riders into position quickly, but we just see some of the riders on the track. Just 5 laps in this event coming up. The
And we're
junior
here
men
with the winners
elimination
of the
final.
gold medal at the first ever Caribbean Soul Championships held. It's always been held with the Pan Am Games or Pan Am Championships. How long have you guys, I know you're an endurance rider, so I was surprised to see you on the track first of all, but have you guys even been training to put this event together?
No, we actually just did our first start together, 10 minutes before the event maybe. So it's definitely a first for us, but it's always nice to do a sprint event for Trinidad because, Trinidad is very well known for their sprints. So.
And I know you have sprint in your life since I've seen you from riding BMX growing up. Does it feel to be on the national team now, representing the red, white, and black, people in the crowd cheering you on and taking home a gold medal?
It really is an honor representing Trinidad and Tobago for my first time ever, right? Being a part of cycling for more than 10 years, right? This is really an honor for me.
And Phoebe, you look so quiet. You look like you're scared, in fact. But you've just won a gold medal for Trinidad and Tobago. How does it feel, and what is your future goals in cycling as you see it coming up?
I feel proud to win a gold medal, and the goal is actually to win more gold medals to represent Trinidad. Make Trinidad proud.
And you all have made us proud tonight. Thank you very much, ladies. Congrats again.
Thank you.
So those are the members of the TNT sprint team, the junior sprint, the elimination race, the junior women, and the men are also standing by. We should be hearing from them, the elite men's sprint team. So we should be hearing from them in a moment. They're standing by with Ronald Dickey, and of course, Quincy Brown is the leader of the pack.
I'm here with the gold medalists, Trinidad and Tobago boys, Guys, we're so proud of you all. How was the training and the camp, and how it is that you prepared to get to this point?
To be honest, there wasn't much of a training camp. This is my first week back in training after World Championships. So it's first week back in actual training as a team, and I think we did really well, seeing that we only had 1 week of training.
And 1 week of training and you all came out with gold. We have the veteran. You're not a veteran, but you're the veteran, right? You inspire these guys. I could see it from when they were tiny mites growing up. Ryan, how does it feel to be racing with Kwesi on the national team and coming home with a gold medal?
It feels amazing because I always, look up to him doing these sort of stuff, and to finally get to do it with him and win the gold medal as well is an honor.
Zion, you have been named like a protege coming up from Jasin. You've gone to Pan Am's. You have a start that they say is none that they've seen in a while. All right? You are going to be part of this national team for years to come. Where do you see yourself, and what is your plan going forward?
Going forward, looking to ride more events, such as sprints, current, and not just team sprint. And yeah, that's it.
Kyle, first time on the national team. You had an excellent start this morning. Sorry, Zion. He had a better start than Diablo this evening, right? But that's what got us into the gold medal ride, you know? Taking home gold. How does that feel?
It feels good. I just look up to Zion in terms of starting, and I always want to be a starter for Trinidad and Tobago, so it's an honor.
Guys, congrats again on your gold medal, and we hope to see you back on the podium for the rest of the weekend. Take care.
So that's the junior men, the start of the junior men. Thank you so much, Ronald Dickey, for that interview with the national contingent who won the gold medal. But now it's the elimination event, the junior men. And of course, the riders are going to be eliminated quickly. Raul Garcia is out, so he is the first man out. In this elimination event, Trinidad and Tobago 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's now a question of how are the others going to settle out. The second elimination already taken place. And now it's a question of who will get the gold medal here. So it's just down to 2 now to see. Lawrence is out. So now it's up to the last 2 on the track to see who will take it. So that's the bell for the final lap. So Maloney against Mohammed. Trinidad and Tobago 1-2. Maloney against Mohammed. Mohammed is in front, but here comes Maloney. Maloney's trying to come over the top here in this one. Maloney, can Mohammed hold him? Maloney has it, and he's going to win it. Maloney does it in style on the line, coming over the top and winning it ahead of Mohammed. So an excellent ride there by Samuel Maloney. Mohammed thought he had it, but Maloney still able to come around and get the job done. Samuel Maloney. And again, it just shows you how the power and the strength that Maloney has. He was a way back, but then he came with a serious rush, came over the top, and was able to execute the race beautifully in the end. And you can see him coming over the top and not panicked at all, just trying to get it into gear and then just finish the event in impressive fashion. So good, we're getting ready now for another big event. This is the men's scratch race. And this one is expected to be a real humdinger affair. This is a long race, but it will go very quickly indeed. So again, a number of outstanding riders getting ready for this one. Trinidad and Tobago, of course, will be well represented in the scratch race. Jamaica, Barbados. We anticipate the Cubans as well, St. Lucia. Everybody wants to be a part of this scratch race. And we should see a very interesting battle unfolding here. So it should be an interesting battle. We have coming up, as the scratch race is always an interesting event, and I think a lot of riders enjoy competing in this particular race. Some of them do it, maybe I suppose, just to help burn off their legs as they try to compete and keep the adrenaline going. But then there are others who, this is what they they train for. This is exactly what they want.
Definitely, Ruskin. The scratch race, one of the, when it comes to cycling, people tend to look at the sprint events, the match sprint and the Karen. But the scratch race being one of my particular favorites, that being a bunch race event, getting to see, well, in this case, we have 10 cyclists taking the track, getting to see them all race against each other over a distance of 15 kilometers. There can be many different outcomes. But in this field particularly, we have a very strong Trinidad and Tobago team. Tariq Woods, Enrique de Commermon, Justin Williams, and Liam Trepte. A couple of those guys who would have medaled in the team pursuit event earlier on this evening, but not to discredit in any way, shape, or form the likes of Jamal Eastman of Barbados.
Mm-hmm. And he has been riding here in Trinidad and Tobago for a number of years. We all know of him very much, and we've also seen him enjoy success here at the Easter Grand Prix and other local events. So he's no stranger. And we look forward to him because he could very well win this event.
And I'm also seeing his teammate, that is Edwin Sutherland, also of Barbados. So he's also a very familiar face to Trinidad and Tobago on both the road and the track. And as you said, they would have both enjoyed successes locally in Barbados as well and region-wide. So it's a very, very strong field, Ruskin. So like I said, it could go any which way.
It certainly is. I think what helps Trinidad and Tobago is the fact that they have a strong team. They have a team of riders in here, and that a four-man team that could help. They could do some work for each other and help out in that regard and set it up. I'm not sure how they're going to work it out because they'll have to wait until how the race develops as they go through. And the peculiarity of the scratch race also is like I said, is that some riders, they get in there because they want to close off the night or something with a big race.
Yeah.
Others, this is their race. This is what they want. They like the endurance bit, and they like the burn.
That's right. Their pet event. So we'll be looking out for them. Riding for Jamaica, we also have Andrew Ramsey and Jerome Forrest. This is the first time they'll be taking the track in this 2022 Caribbean Track Cycling Championships. Also, we have a member of the gold medal winning, the Cuban team pursuit team, that is Douglas Parado.
And again, today all the riders, some high up on the bank, on the wall, others are being held.
Yeah, so we have some, that's right. So we have the coaches and some volunteers. They'll be holding half of the field on the inside, while the other half, they start on the railing. The duo from Barbados, that is Edwin Sutherland and Jamal Eastman, they are currently 1 and 2, I would call it, on the line.
And you see the other two Trinidad and Tobago riders now going up on the wall as well. Tariq Woods.
Yes, that looks like Justin Williams as well, number 16. Just behind the cyclist out of St. Lucia, Mitchell. It's always good to see the colors of our, fellow Caribbean islands here in Trinidad and Tobago. It's important competition on this level for all, not just to attain a medal, but for their personal development. Racing internationally, racing regionally would always assist in the development of the cyclists moving forward.
And of course, we have what we call a rolling start in this event, 60 laps in this one. There's the whistle. So that is the official start of this event.
Yeah, there they go. Enrique de Commermon of Trinidad and Tobago, he takes a very early lead. We also have the cyclist out of Jamaica, I believe that is Ramsey, on the wheel of the Comamond, followed by, that's Edwin Sutherland, number 17, Liam Trepte, as they move up the track. 60 laps, as you said, Ruskin. It's no easy feat. I wouldn't be able to do that.
I can even walk 60 laps of the track.
This is a 250-meter indoor track, so 60 laps it equates to the 15-kilometer distance that they'll be taking on this evening.
And we could just see the riders not really going off too hard. Nobody has really dropped the hammers yet, but that could come at any time. You know, riders love to just separate themselves, try to ride to the front and see if they can stay out there for how long. Plus, they get a lot of camera time when they're out there by yourself. All eyes are on you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So we can see the speed just picking up a bit as they come around to see 55 laps to go. It's about the time where the cyclists will be looking at each other to see, okay, will we work together to make a breakaway and seem to lap this field? And immediately we have a split in the bunch. It's just about split right down the middle, 5 and 5.
Yes, and Trinidad and Tobago, 2 to the front and 2 at the back. But that could change. In fact, the 2 at the back could very well be the ones setting it up to go to the front eventually or later on.
That's right. We have Liam Trepte and Justin Williams. They are in the front bunch.
Second and fifth, respectively.
That's right. And we have Tariq Woods and Enrique de Comramond of Trinidad and Tobago. They are in the second bunch that is on the track, with the cyclists out of St. Lucia, Cuba, and Barbados as well. I'm looking for Jamal Eastman of Barbados. He's very much one to keep an eye on. I believe he's in the second bunch.
Yeah. So he's just biding time back there.
That's right. It seems as though the big names are, relaxing somewhat in the second bunch, while the first 5, they tango out in front on the track. That is Andrew Ramsey of Jamaica. He's currently in the lead. Jamaica, a country where that's most known for track and field, but a very good representation by them in this track cycling event.
I think we have about 51 laps or so to go, so you see how they're nicely bunched together again, but now the guys at the back might be started relaxing.
Now look at this move, Ruskin. It's a very dangerous one indeed. Jamal Eastman just teasing the pack to see what they can do. He's just trying to string them out. As we know, Jamal is very dangerous in these long-distance events. We've seen him lap bunches at this velodrome in the past, in the senior Pan Ams and such.
Even at Arima on the outdoor track, we've seen him
That's
do
right.
damage there as well.
He adapts very well to his surroundings, and the talent is there. That is inarguable.
And now we have Trinidad and Tobago pushing on. Jamal Eastman right there. In fact, that's the wheel you want to hold on to.
Oh yeah, for sure. That is Liam Trepte of Trinidad and Tobago. He's making a move out in front. Now, if you take a look at the starter on the front straight, every lap around he will point at the leader. So those of you looking on at home, you all will be able to know who will be the leader of this particular race. Of course, we will bring that information to you as it develops.
Of course, because sometimes when riders get lapped, that's where it becomes a little confusing for spectators, but the officials will know which rider is actually leading the event.
So with 46 laps to go, Liam Trepte for Trinidad and Tobago, he is out in front. Edwin Sutherland of Barbados is chasing, as well as Jerome Forrest of Jamaica.
Of course, the fans are trying to urge him on to stay out front. But it's always going to be a challenge for him. He's riding by himself, and I would imagine at that point he's just trying to maintain the cadence, keep his form, and just let the laps.
That's
kind
right.
of
The laps will tumble down
down.
as they come around to see 44 laps to go. There's still quite a distance. We haven't reached the halfway point as yet. And Liam is pushing out there in front with just about half lap on the main bunch.
But on a track like this, that's not a very big lead because he hasn't really lapped the field or anything like that.
Correct. But if the bunch does not respond in a timely manner, very easily as he would have put that gap in, he could very well lap the bunch. And he's currently seeing
A three-man team, a group of three closing in on him.
So Liam Trepte, he is already seeing the back of the main bunch as he moves down the front straight into turns 1 and 2. So he is moving and he is moving.
And he's about to lap his Trinidad and Tobago team, and that's who he's going to catch first. So he's part of the peloton. And so Trepte has actually...
Yeah, that's right. Jamal Eastman, Tariq Woods, they are second group on the track, and they are, of course, I don't think that they'll let this go so lightly. Like I said, we would have mentioned Jamal Eastman and Tariq Woods. They're very much known to do these long distance events and perfect them as such. So for those of you looking on at home, it may be a bit confusing, but like I said, the starter would point at the leader of the race, and the leader at this point in time, it is Enrique de Comramond and Liam Trepte. They would have lapped the bunch, and they're all back together again for the most part, Ruskin.
Yes, it is. And this happens quite often in a distance event like this. And as opposed to even confuse people, everybody sprints. When it comes down to the end, it's just like the guys who lap still have to sprint with or if they choose to, but they invariably they'll want to sprint and see if they could also win the sprint in the end.
So what would have happened with a recent clarification of the rules put out by the UCI? Once the cyclists would have lapped the field and they rejoined the bunch, it all becomes one again. Mm-hmm. So yes, they went one lap up, but everyone will have the ability or the opportunity rather to race the entire distance of 15 kilometers. So as you can see, the starter just pointed at the current leaders, Jamal Eastman of Barbados. We have him out in front with Tariq Woods and Jerome Forrest of Jamaica. 1, 2, 3 as they go around to come on the front straight right now.
So they obviously quick movement, quick adjustments, and again, Tariq Woods was always going to be the threat for Trinidad and Tobago because he's such a versatile rider, and he lives for this kind of an event. So you see him here, he's in his element right now.
Oh yes, for sure. Tariq, the current reigning kilometer time trial champion of Trinidad and Tobago. Like I said as well, Jamal Eastman. That is a very dangerous 1, 2, 3. Jerome Forrest from Jamaica also in that 3.
So here they go again, these three certainly mixing it up a bit, sharing the honors. And they're now halfway through the race, and this trio still holding their own and really beginning to really extend themselves a little bit as they try to close in on the peloton again.
Tariq doing a lot of the work in front. Let's see if they'll be able to share up that effort. Of course, the second and third cyclists, they'll be tucking into the slipstream to reserve as much of their energy as possible. And that's it. They would have connected with the back of the main bunch. So it's all back together again. The cyclist from St. Lucia, Mitchell, he is just struggling a bit down there in the back, but a great showing by Mitchell of St. Lucia. Really, really, really nice to have them here in Trinidad and Tobago racing at this level.
And of course, this is a big test. This is a big step up for some of these riders, but it's also he may very well be a national champion someday. And but in order for him to grow and develop, he has to get this kind of competition. And so even though he may not medal, this is invaluable experience for him.
Most certainly, we always talk about the polishing of the talent, and when you're able to compete against elite cyclists of different nations, you get to see the experience that is out there, and it helps you develop in yourself as a cyclist. And like you said, future national champion, maybe a future Caribbean champion one day.
You never know. But he has been called out of the race. Cuba now picks it up. And
yeah, that is Douglas Parado of Cuba. He would have medaled. He would have taken one of the gold medals in the team pursuit events with Team Cuba. So it's potentially a very dangerous move. I suspect. Okay, well he goes very high on the track, looking back to rejoin the main bunch.
So they're all together again. Parado was probably just trying to burn some legs there, and just to give them a reminder of his capabilities.
That's right. Cuba, they've shown themselves so well, picking up 2 gold medals thus far in this Caribbean Track Cycling Championships. But look at the blue and yellow of Barbados on the inside, not to be counted out. That is Edwin Sutherland, followed very closely by Tarek Woods of the red, white, and black.
Keeping close tabs because they know Sutherland is a dangerous customer, and he's not to be taken lightly. You have to try to cover every attack. At this stage, you're in the second half of the race, so you don't want anybody to get away.
Most certainly. So Tarek Woods just taking...
laps to go.
Yeah, 20 laps to go. Tarek Woods taking the front and slowing the pace of Edwin Sutherland just a bit and bringing the bunch all back together. This might be part of the strategy of Team Trinidad and Tobago, having a 4-man team in this race. Strategy is everything.
It certainly is, especially, and you have to use the weapons that you have. But of course, I'm sure they'll be keeping close eye on Eastman, because this is about the stage where he might be getting a little antsy.
That's right.
There, thinking, when should he make his move?
They'll be coming around to see, I believe, 19 laps to go. Liam Trepte out in front for Trinidad and Tobago. He has... Liam and Tariq, they've done a lot of work in the main bunch as well as the breakaways. And Liam is on the move. He is on the move. He's making a break for it. Edwin Sutherland is leading the charge from the main bunch.
Remember, he made the first move earlier.
That's
he got
right.
caught, but here he is again. As we say, he catch a second win.
That's right. Liam, would he be able to lap the bunch a second time around? We'll wait and see. I think we'll have to have a chat with head coach de St. Philip to find out what these youngsters are eating, because I mean, it almost gives the appearance as if he has batteries in his back, Ruskin, with the way they attack and relax and attack again. That ongoing energy, it's impressive.
Yes, it is. It's like the Energizer Bunny. They no doubt feeling that they still have a lot in reserve, and that is a good sign, because for an endurance rider, you have to cover attack. So you must be able to kind of increase, pull back, increase again, pull back, and see what happens. Cuba again trying to sneak away.
And I'm really impressed at the development of the long-distance track cycling program in Trinidad and Tobago. Like we would have mentioned time and time again, we're known as a sprinting country, but some of the youngsters coming up into the elite category have shown some significant progress in the long-distance type events such as these. So the scratch race, you'd also have events later on this weekend like the Omnium event. Really exciting long-distance events that requires that endurance to carry you through.
The cities, and of course, only recently we've had a camp where we saw a number of our distance riders being encouraged and being schooled into some of the intricacies of distance riding and identifying that talent pool, so that going forward, Trinidad and Tobago will benefit in these events as well.
Yes, certainly. We at this point in time we have two cyclists, the brother and sister duo of Akil and Tennille Campbell. They have been making the international circuit in this style event, long distance on the track as well as the road. Both recently picking up medals in the recently concluded championship. So this is just the beginning. From here, it's a platform into the international stage for this long distance.
Tripty goes again. Tripty again trying to stretch some socks here. They come on also in the mix. Eastman is right there, so they all just kind of biding time. They're 10 laps to go. They're down to 9 laps to go.
9
now.
laps to go. Boy, Jamal Eastman positioning himself, seeming to looking to pounce at a moment's notice, but it's Cuba. That is Douglas Parado of Cuba making a move off the front. Trinidad and Tobago responding as well. Cuba just teasing them as he would have done earlier on, going high up on the banking.
And again, it's all strategy now because they've kind of gotten a feel of who is, who can do what. Now it's a question of when. When
right.
you do what you want to do in this race and who will cover it.
So as you would have said earlier, Ruskin, although it's a long distance event, when it comes down to the final few laps, it's all about who has the legs to make that sprint. So these long distance athletes, it's a great mix of endurance and a burst of speed they have in their back pockets. So let's see how this will go as we come down with just about 7 laps to go.
And Sutherland and Eastman controlling tempo at the front. Tariq Woods just looking very relaxed. In third place, Parado right there. And of course, they come on Williams and Tripty right there.
Not to forget, that is Jerome Forrest of Jamaica. He would have made a very good effort earlier on. But Tariq Woods, I believe he is on the right wheel as we come down to the final few in this event.
Payan and Eastman, that's the man who eventually you feel is going to do something out of the ordinary to try to win it.
So it is Edwin Sutherland from Jamal Eastman from Tariq Woods. Enrique de Comamon, he is in there as well as Douglas Parado. These guys look like they still have, they can do 60 more laps.
Here's an attack quickly, but it's covered nicely by Barbados. And Tripty again, not giving up. He's determined. And Parado now sneaking in on the inside.
That's right, Jamaica also up there in the front. That is Forrest of Jamaica. But making a move of the front, it's Enrique de Comamon. And as we said, Jamal Eastman is on his wheel. 3 laps to go. This is where just a spill.
Justin Williams went down.
Yeah, very unfortunate, but it happens in this realm of track cycling.
But he seems to be okay. Although he's just like relaxed on the ground there. I'm sure they'll be attending to him. And 2 laps to go. So they should be coming for bell any minute now.
Yeah, no directives from the officials as it relates to the sprint, but they're coming for the bell. Enrique de Comamon from Jamal Eastman, Tariq Woods also in the mix. Douglas Parado of Cuba also in the mix. So who's it going to be this time around?
So here we go. Eastman is the man.
Look at the speed of Jamal Eastman. Tariq Woods. Tariq was just... Jamal Eastman had the gap on Tariq Woods. As we said, Jamal Eastman, very, very dangerous indeed. Tariq on the right wheel, but Jamal moving at the right time and just putting that little gap into Tariq Woods to grab that gold medal in this elite men's scratch race final.
You could just fast twitch muscles. Look at how quickly he went, as you say, from 0 to 60. You could just see him change gears. And once he widened ahead of the Comamon, it was really just a question of how soon the line would come. Jamal Eastman picking up the gold medal here and getting loud applause from the spectator. There he is. From the moment he went past the Comamon, this was pretty much a done deal because Woods was trying, but look at the gap. It's about 2 bicycle lengths there now.
That's right.
And it's hard for him to close that gap.
He got the
Eastman
jump.
is too strong.
He got the jump on Tarek Woods when they came for the bell, and it was all Jamal Eastman from there. It was wonderful, wonderful racing in the 2022 Caribbean Track Cycling Championships right here at Balmain, Couva. The elite men's scratch race finals.
Right, here they come again. You can see them looking around. Everybody is kind of eyeballing, but no doubt Woods is keeping an eye on Eastman. There is Eastman's
That's the move.
Yeah, look at how fast he covered the Cameraman. And Tariq took a little while to get started, but by the time he got it into gear, Eastman was gone.
Oh yeah, Parado of Cuba, he was also there as well, but not having the legs to take Tarek Woods or Jamal Eastman. So that's how they finished. Jamal Eastman from Tarek Woods and Douglas Parado, unofficially of course. The official results would be posted on our online platforms. And this brings us to the end of the track racing for this evening's proceedings.
First night of action, isn't it?
Most definitely. We'll be heading over to the medal ceremonies for the events that would have just gone. So this is the conclusion of day 1 of the Caribbean Track Cycling Championships. So we'll be back here on Saturday and Sunday to look forward to some exciting racing. On Saturday, I'm seeing we have the sprint events. They much look forward to sprint events.
The qualifiers, the junior men, that's the morning session from 10 in the morning. Although we won't be giving our live feed during the qualifiers, but we will certainly have the action for you in the afternoon session. So the official position is Jamal Eastman with Tariq Woods second, Parada.
Douglas Parado of Cuba.
Trinidad and Tobago actually. Enrique de Cameron is officially 3rd place.
Okay, official results. So that's to tell you how fluid the situation can be at times in these track cycling championships. So we always await the official results once the commissaires would have had their discussions and such.
So the come around is the man who picked up the bronze medal. So Trinidad and Tobago, silver and a bronze if you counting the medals.
That's right.
Barbados also in the mix with a gold medal to their credit. Jamal Eastman certainly showing that he is a quality rider.
So what, as we mentioned, that we won't have the live stream tomorrow morning, I'd like to invite all of our viewers to the National Cycling Center for tomorrow morning's session. It's free of charge, of course.
Starting at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we start at 10 with the sprint and Karen heats. We also have a tempo race and the 500-meter women time trial in there. So it's going to be an action-packed morning session. Like I said, it's free of charge to the public, so you can come on down to Couva for 10 a.m. to enjoy that bit of racing.
And they'll also see the quarterfinals of the sprint events as well, junior men and elite men in the morning session. And the elite women Karen Repecharge is also on the links. And then, of course, in the evening session, when we'll be back live, we have the junior men's sprint semis, the elite men's sprint semifinals, and we anticipate that Quincy Brown will be the man to beat here. The junior women's scratch race final, the elite women elimination event, the elite men omnium, you were speaking about that in terms of an endurance event.
That's right.
And of course, and it's also, the omnium is a very demanding
oh yeah, surely
set of races. Yeah.
It's a group of races where they compete for points and it's tallied at the end. So again, you have to have that endurance to make it through those rounds of races to eventually come out on top.
So you have the tempo race as the first event, then you have the elimination later on, or you have the scratch race, then the tempo race, then the elimination race, And then
And
we
the
have
points race.
The points race as well.
Yeah,
So
that is one to definitely look forward to. Our long distance riders that we would have seen in this scratch race, they would definitely make their showing in the Omnium as well.
And
But
of course, the junior Karen is something that for women, and the elite women Karen second round will also be on tomorrow night. We talk about the junior scratch race, the junior men's sprint final, the elite men's sprint final.
one that we always look forward to.
Trinities always look forward to that. The elite women's scratch race final, and of course that Omnium points race, and then the Karen junior women and elite women Karen finals to close off proceedings tomorrow night. So a lot in store for our participants. And as we move our attention now we see them on the track, just double checking where the spill occurred. The officials are just making sure that everything is A-OK, and so that when we continue tomorrow, everything will be in ship shape as far as the track is concerned. But now we have the prize restaurant where we're seeing the junior elimination event, Trinidad and Tobago, 1, 2, 3.
It's good experience for the youngsters, you know, with the junior Commonwealth that's coming up next year, and these guys will put us in this venue is one of the major venues that is being used, right? We have the aquatic center next door, and we have the cycling center, and it's going to be all the events that they would have at the Commonwealth Games on the track right here.
Right, and of course, as we're talking about venues, the home of football, which is just a stone's throw away, and this is where all the athletes are being housed, all of these cyclists here.
That's right. So we will be using the housing that will be given to us, or rented, or however it will be held. As we could see, the riders collecting their medals.
So if you look here, the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago, we're getting ready for the national anthem to be played. So the national anthem for Trinidad and Tobago, the junior men elimination, 1, 2, 3 for Trinidad and Tobago. The future of TNT cycling, TNT and Caribbean cycling.
Yeah, this is the future. I was hoping to see a lot more. I know Barbados have a lot of youngsters as well that participate on track racing, and I was hoping to have a lot more from Barbados, but I'm not too sure. Maybe the short span that they had to put together the event, that they couldn't get their teams ready and in place. But I'm hopefully for next year it will grow, and we will see more countries and more participants, coming to take part.
We certainly look forward to that. Now we're getting ready for the race you just saw there, the scratch race. And the Commonwealth is in third place. Tariq Woods in second place. And of course, Jamal Eastman. Jamal Eastman will take the gold medal with a fantastic ride.
Fantastic ride. I don't want to I know they're going to give the medals, but I just want to touch on one thing. Liam Trepte. People who, if you're watching this live stream, I'm going to say it here and now, Liam Trepte. He is going to be a force to reckon with when he's still under 23. He is going to be a force for Trinidad and Tobago. Look out for that guy. That was an amazing ride by him today.
Because he started the attacks. He was in the middle, still attacking. Even coming down to the end, he was right there in the mix. And it just shows you what a little bit of, he seems to be in good form. His preparation looks to be spot on for these championships.
Yes, I think he peaked just exactly at the right time. And imagine, he rode the team pursuit just a couple hours earlier. And for that recovery to come back and ride so strong in that event. But again, I don't want to take away from Jamal Eastman, but here we have Jamal Eastman collecting his gold medal and his champion's jersey.
It is, with, of course, Tariq Woods and the cameraman with him. So again, Jamal Eastman with the gold medal. Barbados celebrating a gold medal, and you should be justifiably proud of him. Wherever you are with Bajan roots, this is really one of your most outstanding talents, especially in cycling, and no doubt we should be hearing about him for years to come.
Yeah.
So we just get invited, and Ronald is heading over to try to get a quick interview with Jamal Eastman. So we will be getting a quick chat with him, and hopefully he will have his medal with him as well. And we certainly will be looking at it and ensuring that we get his comments as to his performance and how he felt in this particular race. And it obviously is a proud moment for him, but he's no stranger to winning in Trinidad and Tobago. As we keep saying, he's done it before, and I'm sure he'll do it again. But because he's come here and he's ridden with tremendous force and has had a rich tradition, has been doing very well over the years. And we certainly look forward to him continuing with his switch forward.
So I'm here with the winner of the Elite Men's Scratch Race, Jamal Eastman from Barbados. There was a lot of Trinidadians in that race, man. It was like a Grand Prix, but you held your composure and you knew when you needed to move. You moved a bit late because two riders got away and they made it into the peloton and they were a lap up. What were you thinking at that point in time?
To be honest, I made the biggest rookie mistake. I changed my gear. I rode 95 inches instead of the usual 100 or 102. So like I knew while I was on the breakaway, like it was way too late. I tried to chase Enrique as best as I possibly could, but like you could see that he was riding big and he was just rolling it, you know.
I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but I did say at the start of the event, I said you were the guy to look out for. I've seen you race for many years, and I've announced you, and I've seen your wins and what you could do. And you're such a talented cyclist with so much opportunity coming up. You have the CAC Games, and so what are your goals in the future coming up?
Originally, it's actually the Olympic Games. Like we're doing everything possible now to just. I guess gear up for that, like with World Cups coming in starting from March, April, May, and yeah, like that's right now the penultimate goal at this point in time.
Well, we wish you the best and congrats again.
So that is Jamal Eastman there speaking with Ronald Dickey, and we certainly want to recognize him for his outstanding ride here this evening. So the medals split, Trinidad and Tobago, and of course Cuba doing the honors early on with 2 gold medals. Trinidad and Tobago coming
Well,
up with
ladies
2.
and gentlemen, this has been an exciting day. The morning session, we had Trinidad and Tobago 4 seconds down in the team pursuit, and then coming back to run second to Cuba in the team pursuit by only 2 seconds. Or it was less than a second, actually. We had Jamal Eastman just now. He was the Caribbean champion in the men's scratch race. We had the women's team sprint, the men's team sprint of Trinidad and Tobago. But Cuba has always been that one contender so far for Trinidad and Tobago. Jamal Eastman has just jumped in as well. Jamaica had a good ride. But just remember, tomorrow that's another hot day. Right now, we are just closing off and shutting down for the rest of the evening. This was day one at the Caribbean Cycling Track Championships 2022. And my name is Ronald Dickey, and I will be back with you tomorrow afternoon on the live stream. But come out tomorrow morning and support the guys as they hit the track once again. Have a good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
So that's Ronald Dickey there, closing off from on the track, and on behalf of Wesley Williams, I'm Ruskin Mark, thanking you so much for being with us, and we look forward to your company again come tomorrow. Just make sure it's off.